Cooper Flagg has been one of the more interesting prospects in one of the coming drafts that has a lot of NBA GMs and executives foaming at the mouth. Today we're going to be delving a little bit into his high school stats, what makes him such a good player, and some of the issues that he may end up encountering as time goes on. Without any further ado though, my name is Wraith Hoops. If you're new to this channel, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications if you're into NBA content. And in exchange, I'll give you the swiftest and most concise breakdown of his player build. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this one. Cooper Flagg is anticipated to be a prospect in the 2025 NBA draft, so the year after this one, he is expected to be the #1 pick or the best overall and most talented with the highest ceiling type of player. In his senior year at Montverde Academy, he played in 33 of their games. In total, he put up 16.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.6 steals, and 2.7 blocks per game. For those that aren't familiar with Montverde Academy and their basketball brand, they're known as one of those schools that can double a little bit as a prep school, and they put a lot of people in position to be really good basketball players. RJ Barrett, D'Angelo Russell, and Ben Simmons are the most notable three that have come out of the basketball factory. By and large, they play on a national scale. They go from state to state playing in different tournaments and even go on to the national stage to play some of the greatest basketball teams in the entire country. And they're known for being a really darn good team at that. This year alone, they managed to be a perfect 34-0 and were ranked #1 overall in Florida by default. Flagg shot 55% from the field on 383 field goal attempts and also managed to shoot 38% from 3 on 96 three-point attempts, while also putting together a total free throw percentage of 78% while shooting 109 free throws. Now this is of course by the Montverde data department on the Max Preps website, so that is something to be taken with a grain of salt. At the same time though, Cooper Flagg has shown great advancements in his game. As a 6'9" forward or wing, depending on how you view his game, you have a lot that you would enjoy having on your team. Many people claim that he has the issue of not being a really big pass first kind of guy, and that is understandable. Sometimes his court vision is lacking because earlier on in his prep school career and in AAU seasons, you've seen a lot of teams where he's played on and they just don't seem to have the talent that is up to par with his own, which by default makes him feel like he has to do everything on his own. So instead of making the proper reads, and when he draws a double, kicking to the open man in the corner, a lot of times he just tends to go to a patented turnaround jumper or a little bit of a fadeaway depending on where he is on the floor. He likes to work in the middle of the floor. He doesn't really drive baseline too terrifically, but he's also a sneaky athletic individual. Him obviously being at 6'9" provides him with a lot of height. He also has a pretty girthy build, so it's not as though he has to gain a significant amount of weight even going into college. Defensively, he does give a lot of positives. He does at times become a hunter when it comes to shot blocking, meaning that he is a little bit of a swatsman, but all in all, he does have the intangibles necessary to make himself a great help side defender in most situations. Going on to the college level, there will be a lot more for us to go off of. Admittedly, him playing at Montverde Academy did wonders for his NBA chances because they are one of the best programs that you can have played at the high school level. Him going on to college or possibly to the NBA G League will end up determining what exactly can be expected of him going forward. And I believe that he will have the opportunity to put on a genuine clinic in front of all teams across the league. And because people have already been hyping him up and talking about how great a player he is, we have to give the credit where credit is due. Cooper Flagg is a phenomenal talent. He has the size, frame, length, and build to allow him to be successful at the NBA level. He's not the quickest player, and sometimes his handle can be a little bit loose and a little bit weak, and at times it can be heightened by the fact that he doesn't always have the greatest passing sense when he does find himself getting into trouble. At the same time though, he does make a lot of shots, and going into this year being his senior season, he actually elevated his game and became more successful in the decisions that he decided to make. He was a little bit more deliberate in his attacking of the basket. His shots fell at a little bit of a higher percentage, and the types of shots that he were taking were just totally different from what we've seen from him in past years. I personally am not yet the highest on him, though I do understand that he presents the most potential upside and has the highest ceiling out of what will be his eventual draft class, most likely compared to everybody else that seems to be in their senior years of high school going on into college now. He was the recipient of the 2023-2024 National Gatorade Player of the Year Award, and Eric Rossi, who is the 24/7 Sports Director of Basketball, had this to say in regards to Cooper's game. Cooper Flagg stands out from the crowd for his versatility, intensity, and commitment to playing on both sides of the ball. In a situation where he is the lone star, he would put up monster scoring numbers, but his selflessness and ability to still produce at a high level on a very complete roster really stands out. He has positional versatility, size, and has arguably the best defensive player in the class of 2024. Bottom line, he's the ultimate competitor and a true winner who is very deserving of the accolades he has received. Continuing on down that vein, we have the understanding that he is a pretty solid 195 pounds, so he's not too heavy, but he still could stand to put on a couple of pounds, more so in the muscle department, just so they can deal with the physicality at the next level. But at 6'9", he's in much healthier waters than we've seen some other guys like your Chet Holmgrens of the world and your Imani Bates come out looking. As a result, he's also found himself in a situation where he has had the opportunity to win the Naismith Award for National High School Player of the Year. He was also a McDonald's All-American Game selection and a member of both the Nike Hoop Summit team for the USA and the Jordan Brand Classic squad. He was also the 2021-2022 Gatorade Main Player of the Year, which was where he originally went to high school before transferring down to Montverde for his final 2 years of high school. And he is currently ranked the #1 overall recruit in the class of 2024 by ESPN and 24/7 Sports, as well as Rivals.com. An important thing to add on to that is the fact that he will be going off to Duke University this fall, and he's not just one of those athletes that's going to be going there because he's good at the game of basketball. He sports a whopping 4.1 weighted GPA in the classroom, and that can also translate to the way he plays the game. While he has needed to take a step up in his understanding of the game, considering he did come from Maine, where most players aren't known for being terrific basketball players, and on his team, the gap between himself and the second best player and third best player was quite noticeable, to say the least. He has drastically understood that being around better players and being around people that are roughly his caliber requires him to have a lot more trust in his teammates' abilities to be successful on the court, and also his ability to properly read situations, react, and adjust on the fly. He's also been a very coachable player, and he's shown the ability to learn things at a very high level. Him having a high GPA also means that he's not going to be a problem when he goes to Duke, whether it be from a class standpoint or even more importantly, when it comes to studying film and understanding concepts that are thrown at him by his Duke coaching staff. Because as we understand, going to a blue blood school isn't easy, and everybody isn't going to be built to be successful. I think he's going to have the opportunity to be just that, and he will join a star-studded class that is headed by Caleb Foster, who is returning for his sophomore year. I think that ultimately whatever team ends up selecting Cooper Flagg will be happy so long as their development does end up panning out the way that they should be able to push him, because if they decide not to develop him the way that he deserves to be, then they could be leaving a lot of potential on the table. I think that the Utah Jazz would be a perfect destination for him because they do have Lauri Markkanen, who already fits the mold of being the tall, wing-esque, forward-esque type player that has a sneaky level of athleticism and also has a really solid shooting touch. I think that he could grow a lot by being alongside him, and with Lauri being put at the 4 and then probably Cooper put at the 3, you could have a situation where you have a really lengthy front court, or if you decide to go small, you can put Lauri at the 5 and put Cooper at the 4, and you still will have a certain level of rim protection because Cooper does have that in his game. Admittedly, at the NBA level, it's going to be significantly more difficult because players are more athletic, they are more crafty, and they are more capable, and they study film a lot more. But I still expect him to be a more helpful and impactful defender, regardless of the situation that he's put in. And I think that going with the Utah Jazz, as long as they manage to develop the rest of their rookies and switch around a couple pieces, if they can manage to get an all-star guard added to their fold, or if they do just stick with Keontae George and dog it out to see him grow and go through those pains that are expected to be had, I think that Cooper Flagg could be the beneficial light at the end of the tunnel that they would enjoy having. My question then becomes to you guys as my audience, with us now understanding what the totality of his backstory is, being a player that came from Maine, transferred to Montverde, which is a powerhouse high school team, and putting on a clinic there, winning multiple national awards, going to many different camps, many different things, representing the USA at many different venues. Do you feel like he will continue to produce when he reaches the level of Duke? And also, in turn, do you think he will still maintain his #1 overall ranking coming into the NBA draft? Or do you think that there's somebody else that teams should have an eye on? And if you're a Utah Jazz fan, do you think that he fits alongside Lauri Markkanen? And do you think it would be worth burning another year of Lauri Markkanen's existence on that team? Or would you rather send Lauri out of the way so that you can more so guarantee a situation where Cooper Flagg becomes more attainable, but also hopefully try and find another piece to pair along with him? With that being said, it's your boy Wraith Hoops. Thanks for tuning in this video. If you made it this far, go and smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and become a member of the channel to help support the content. With that being said, good morning, good evening, and good night, no matter where you're on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.